Don't lie. I'm a little annoyed with StreamYard because the second time that done happened where they done kick me off. So anyway, hey everybody, hey there, Arthur, Cynthia, Marshall. Shout out to you, Miss Yana, awesome. Shout out to you, shout out to everybody jumping on. I know it just kicked me off. Y'all come on back on Facebook and on YouTube. I really appreciate it, y'all. We're about to get into it. We're about to get into the conversation for today. Look, I know some of you have you probably saw in the US anyway. Anyway, saw some of the presidential debate. If you didn't see the whole thing, you probably saw clips. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm not a person that's like definitely not gonna fearmonger anybody because the writing has been on the wall with a lot of stuff anyway, long before this whole presidential election and the debate and stuff. Like it's already been there. So it's not like it's something new that I'm going to share with you. Sometimes we just need reminders, y'all. Okay. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'll give you a few reminders. This is going to be part 1 of this series, just making sure that we are recession ready. So I will be giving you 14 steps over the next 3 to 4 weeks, depending on how many we can get through each live. We'll be going over that to help you to secure your financial future. So thank you also very much for jumping on. Appreciate you. As you come on, do me a favor. Let me know where you are tuning in from, like where are you watching this live or replay. Okay, where are you watching this from? Let me know. Okay, and I want to say this too for everybody who has been rocking with me for like the past, I say year and a half, close to 2 years, man. Thank y'all so very much because you could be doing anything. You could be listening to anyone, watching anyone. Shout out to you from Cincinnati. Got it. Awesome. Welcome to you. Okay. Carchabelli. I hope I said that right. But yeah, like I just really, really appreciate everybody's support, man. There's a lot of people on these here social media platforms, and I know they give out a lot of info. But one thing I will tell y'all is the point of me doing it is because there's a lot of info I wish I would have had before I got into certain spaces, before I became an entrepreneur, before I retired from the Army. Like all of this stuff, there's a lot I wish I would have been aware of, and that's the reason why I share so much to this day, because I really want to make sure people are better equipped, to go out here and just live their life how they want to live it, not how someone else tells them they're supposed to live it, right? So shout out to y'all, man. Y'all the real MVPs for continuing to rock with me. Keep showing up, viewing the live streams or replays, hitting the like and commenting and stuff, engaging with me, sharing the lives. As a matter of fact, if y'all feel like, hey, you know what, this is something that my brother, sister, my friend, cousin, whoever could use, go ahead right now, share the live stream with them. Don't forget YouTube, especially, y'all hit the thumbs up. I know we hit the hearts and stuff, and that's great, but hit the thumbs up on the video so that way YouTube can push this out to more people. Okay. But yeah, so hit that like button, hit the share, share with somebody that could use it. And then if you feel like, what, after listening to everything, you're like, nah, I need to come back to this, then save it. Okay. All right. For my people on YouTube, y'all, please don't forget to subscribe and also hit that notification bell. Okay. Now, look, before we get into everything, y'all already know I got to do it. I got to say it because I'm going to be sharing some stuff pertaining to finances. And I need to make sure that, I'm not telling people something that I'm not doing or whatever. And I want to make sure everybody know, I am not a financial advisor. I'm only telling you what I have done and what I am doing today with my family because of the suggestions and advice from my own financial advisor. Okay, so I want you, if you feel like any of this stuff makes sense to you, then please do your own research, okay? Do your digging, but also consult with your financial advisor. Now, if you don't have one, okay, and you're like, well, I want one, Leona, too, then guess what? Hit me up and I can get you in contact with mine, okay? For people who thinking like, oh, man, I got to have a certain amount of money to have a financial advisor, that is an absolute lie. If someone told you that, there are levels to this. Right. So just make sure if this is something you are interested in, you're like, nah, I really do need some help because I've been doing this on my own and it's not working. I give you her her information, and you can see if she's your vibe. Okay, if she rocking with you, you rock with her, then roll with it. If you're like, nah, she ain't my cup of tea, that's cool too. You can't say I ain't trying to do nothing for you though. Okay, so all right, now look. Again, y'all don't forget to like the video, share the video, do all those good things, because we are going to make sure that we drop some information helping you to properly prepare for a recession, okay? So now that I've done all the formalities, we got all that part out the way, let me know if you are still here. Give me a 1 right now. Just type a 1 in the comments. If you're watching the replay, if you're watching live, put a 1 in the comments right now if you are still here. You ready to go? I'm going to go over my over the first thing that we should be doing, okay, or at least consider doing before we get into it. And as a matter of fact, before I do that, as you all are typing and whatnot, look, here's the thing. I know I shared about the presidential debate, but I know some people are like, well, what are some things that you are seeing, Leona, that's telling you that we should prepare for a recession? Well, number one, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but you got a whole bunch of billionaires that are moving their money. Pay attention to how they're moving their money and where they're moving their money to. You got people sitting here, all these billionaires out here. You have a good number of them. They're building bunkers, okay? Buying up farmland and have been buying up farmland for years. You already know who I'm talking about. I don't have to say any names, right? What about all my finance gurus out there, right? If you're there, let me know. What about my finance gurus? What do you think is about to happen when you have the greatest investor of our lifetime storing up almost $200 billion? Okay? $200 billion. Yeah, I mean cash on hand, ready to put it into work. 200 billion. I didn't say million. I said 200 billion, ready to get to work when that time comes. For my finance gurus out there, what does that mean? Tell them, Realtor Adrian, what does that mean? That y'all, we gotta pay attention to these signs, man. We gotta pay attention to these signs, and we have to move accordingly so we don't get left behind. Y'all notice how with 19, right? These billionaires made more money during that time frame than they did the year prior. Why? Because they were prepared. They were prepared. They had the money available. They had their debt freed up, right? They had plenty of room to secure more good debt in order to buy up land, property, all kind of stuff, buy into different investments, buying businesses, all this. They was able to do all of that because they were properly prepared. So I know there's a lot of people who don't know what it looked like. Well, okay, I hear you, Leona. You're saying follow the signs and move accordingly, but what does that look like? Okay, so again, like I shared, when you are seeing these things where you have people who have massive amounts of money and they are moving them into different locations. I give y'all an example before I go into step one. One of the examples is last year. For those of you that don't know, I've been following Warren Buffett for, I say, probably the last 4 going on 5 years, right? That's the person I've been studying and just watching and moving and whatnot. And so last year, I heard him talking about treasury bills and how much money he was putting into treasury bills, 3 and 6 month treasury bills. So automatically in my mind, I was like, well, why would he be putting them in treasury bills? So let me go do my research, because no one that I am associated with at that time, they weren't talking about treasury bills. You know what they were talking about? Buying gold and silver, buying cryptocurrency, getting into the real estate market. Like, they were just talking about those things. That's it. They weren't really talking about bonds and treasury bills and all that stuff. So then I go and I read, and I'm like, so if you put your money here, the government has to give you that money back, right? They have to. It's not an option. See, when you invest in certain things, there's a potential for the market to not give you a return. But with this, the government has to give you back the money that you have earned with that interest, right? So I'm like, oh, So that's why he put hundreds of millions and billions of dollars into treasury bills. Okay, guess what I'm doing? Bam, I start putting money into treasury bills too. Why would I not? If now I know that that's the reason why he's using it, because he's preparing for something to occur in the market here in the United States, and he wants to have the cash on hand, ready and available to drop it in there, right? So now let's get into it, okay? I told y'all, some of the things to pay attention to. So now I'm going to give you the how, okay? How are we going to prepare for a recession, and also to be on the other end of the recession, to no longer be on the end where you're struggling because, you lose your job or something. No, we don't want you to be on the other end where you're racking up all this debt and stuff because of it. We want you to be on the end, or I want you to be on the end where you're raking in the money like those billionaires that did it in 19, right? When we had that pandemic happen, I want you all to be in that position as well, okay? Is it Carcy Belly? I don't know if I'm saying that right or wrong. Okay, I apologize if I'm messing up your name. But yeah, so let's get into it. Put the word how. How, Leona, how do we get ourselves in position? Type how in the comments if you're watching a replay, and how if you're watching me live right now. Put how in the comments right now, right? And for y'all on Facebook and YouTube, because I'm on stream, y'all, I cannot see y'all comments. I am so sorry. I thought that it would be coming through, but it's not showing, so I apologize, y'all. But let's get into it, okay? So number one, first things first, I say this all the time. If you've been on any of my live streams in the past, I always talk about creating a budget, because that is our starting point, y'all. That is always our starting point. Why? Because we have to know how much money we have coming in, and also how much money we have going out, down to the last penny. We do not leave any money unaccounted for. We need to know how much we're spending in subscriptions every month. So if you have Netflix, Disney Plus, what's some other ones? When we're talking about TV, Hulu, if you have 3, 4, 5 different TV subscriptions, right? That's a lot. That's pretty excessive. This is how you're going to know, though, because you're putting your budget together and you're looking at how much money is going out. And now you can say, oh, I can scale back on this. Okay. So here's the thing, though. I want you all to know something. There are consequences and of course, results that come from this when you do not have a budget. One of those things is when you don't have a budget, you have a tendency to overspend. Who has been there? If you have been there, put a me in the comments right now. If you have been there where you overspend, like, oh man, I planned on only spending, $200, man. And I don't came out here, I don't spent $500. I ain't need to do that. Like, no. That's why we have a budget, right? And that leads to poor financial management. So now you're in a hole month after month, year after year. And you're like, how did I get here? Well, because you don't have a budget. Okay? Because to be honest, if you don't have a budget, this can result in your money running out before the end of the month. And this is month after month, year after year. You're racking up debt. Okay? And now you're unprepared for like small emergencies, let alone being prepared for a recession like 2008. There's no way you could be prepared for a recession if you have no idea how much money you have coming in and how much money you have going out. And I'm talking about every single penny, y'all, accounted for. If you're like, yeah, I think I make about, or I spend about, $2,000 a month. Now, there's no about. No, I spend this amount of money. How do I know that? Because I account for it. I track it. Okay? So these are some things I want you all to consider. When we're talking about creating a budget, one thing I want you to consider is taking the time to sit down and write out what you have going out. What are all your expenses every single month? I'm talking everything. How much you typically spend on fast food trips. How much you typically spend on your hair. I'm talking haircuts, hairdos, if you're a woman and you get your nails done and you get your mani and pedis and spa treatments and eyelashes, and I want you to account for every single thing that you typically spend your money on a monthly basis. Make sure you have that on top of what you have coming in. So that means not just your job. If you're getting child support, include that. If you're getting spousal support, include that. If you're getting alimony, if you're getting what's it like, if you have rental properties, right, and they're not in a business name yet, okay, I need you to put all that stuff down. Put it all down. All right. And if you need help, like if you need help with knowing what to track or whatever, look, I got a budget spreadsheet. I can send it to you. Okay. I asked you to call it like a cash flow spreadsheet, but it has everything for our debt, all of our assets tracked on there. So you'll put all of your assets, meaning things that you're investing in, you're going to put that in there as well. And it calculates what your if you're in the positive or if you're in the red, right? When it comes to your net worth. So that whole spreadsheet does that for you. So if you need it, just send me a DM. Okay, send a DM and just say budget spreadsheet, and I got you covered. Okay, I'll give you what I use. There are some tools too that are available that you can use. One of which was recommended to me by my financial advisor, and that's the Rocket Money app. So in this app, you can choose if you want to connect it to all of your accounts and whatnot. You don't have to do that, y'all. But that's one of the ways to help you to see what you have going out and what you have coming in. And the good thing about Rocket Money too is, and I'm not promoting it because I don't get paid for it or nothing, but I'm just telling you it works for me. It also lets you know when you have like big purchases that have occurred, like you had a massive amount of money come out. If there's something that has come out and is not accounted for, like it doesn't have a specific category, if you have subscriptions that's been going on for a while, if the price of it went up, if there's a bill, like a phone bill. I've had it before where our phone bill went up when we used to have Verizon, and I was like, wait a minute, when did it go up? Sometimes you don't notice that stuff. Rocket Money let me know, and we was like, hey, yo, like it's time to look for something else, because I mean Verizon cool, but they weren't all that. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, it's time for us to look for someone else. And we were able to, save and still have really great service, with a different cell phone carrier. So it's little stuff like that. You can use Rocket Money, that app, if you want to. You don't have to. That's just a suggestion, something that you can look into as well. And then this is another thing, y'all, when it comes to creating that budget, like I said, once you start writing this stuff down, this is going to help you to identify areas where you need to cut back, or where you can cut back and save more money, or start putting money towards things like different investments and whatnot, or building up an emergency fund and stuff like that. You'll be able to do those things because now you know where the money is going. Because I'm going to tell y'all, if y'all haven't noticed this, when you go and you look at your account, you'll be like, man, like, what is this? What is this $25 for? Who been there? Like, seriously, if you've been there, let me know. Like, oh yeah, I've been there. That's me. You ever look at your account and be like, man, what's this $30 for? What's this? It's a small amount where sometimes you don't think about it until you keep seeing it. You're like, man, I don't know what this is for. Rocket Money helps you to identify that too. So they'll cancel your subscriptions for you as well. So those subscriptions, y'all, they add up. When you have Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, all these other ones, Paramount, like you have all these different subscriptions for the same thing, y'all, don't make sense. Cut it. Those trips to the fast food restaurant, unplanned trips to the grocery store, create a list. If you create a list before you go to the grocery store, I'm telling you, you're less likely to spend more money than you would want to in a grocery store when you know what it is you're going to the grocery store for. Be specific. Create a list and then get your stuff for the next week, the next 2 weeks, all of that stuff. Get it. Okay, and that, I'm telling you, that'll save you so much money. Okay, but there's so much stuff, y'all, that you could do to help cut back and save more money and invest more money into things that you want to invest in. But you have to start with a budget. That is our starting point, period. You cannot do other steps until you have created your budget. All right. So if you got that, if you are with me and ready for step number 2, okay, step number 2, give me a 2 in the comments. If you're watching a replay, give me a 2 in the comments. If you are watching live, give me a 2 in the chat. All right. All right. Let's go. Let's go. So number 2, here we go. Number 2 is reduce debt. Y'all, did you know here in the United States that Americans have racked up over $1.1 trillion in credit card debt? This is in 2024. What? I can believe it though. Then the other parts of this I read as well is it said that on average, an American household carries a credit card debt of over $7,000 every single year. So that tells me like, man, like the money just continuing to just revolve because you're maintaining at least $7,000 in credit card debt every year. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Failure to reduce your debt, it can definitely result in interest payments being ridiculously sky high, and it increases your debt burden. Well, what do you mean by that? Listen, those high debt levels, they consider, if you, let's just say you have a 10% interest rate on a credit card. Well, now you're paying 10% on your balance that you have for that month. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not even talking about, let's say you paid, right? Let's say you paid whatever the minimum amount was. Okay. If it's $100 minimum amount. Okay, cool. All right. So you paid $100, the minimum amount. But after you paid that $100, depending on the particular credit card, the company that you have, you could turn around and pay an interest fee after you've already made a payment. And guess what they're doing? They're charging you for the balance that occurred before you made the payment. So if you owe $7,500, like that's the balance on your credit card, you're paying 10%. Man, quit playing. That's ridiculous. They charging you an arm and a leg. But see, and this is another reason why we have to be careful with this. And this is something I had to learn because we've all been there. If you did not have people in your life early on enough to teach you about credit and how to utilize it and how it can be detrimental if not used properly, listen, that high debt can also mess up your credit. Anybody here had good credit before and then something happened, you know, anything, because you didn't have an emergency fund and so on and so forth, or you depleted your emergency fund? Because I was just listening to a young lady yesterday and she was like, yeah, we had at least 6 months or so of money saved in an emergency fund just in case something happened. And she lost her job because I think it was during COVID or whatever. And she lost her job. And guess what? After that 6 months, because she couldn't find another job during that time, this is during, 19, right? She couldn't find another job. So they ended up racking up debt, credit card debt, just to pay for their regular everyday monthly expenses, groceries, gas. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they weren't making enough money to cover everything. So they racked up well over $25,000 in debt just in a short amount of time. Listen, y'all, it's very possible. So you really have to be careful of how you are utilizing your credit cards and definitely when getting these loans, okay? Because they can also limit your borrowing power in the future. So even if you do want to accumulate some good debt, like from an investor standpoint, because your credit is now shot or you have a high revolving credit percentage, then guess what? Now creditors are not looking to lend you money because you're already stretched thin. So here's a few things I want you all to just consider doing in order to reduce debt. Again, y'all, I am not a financial advisor. I'm not. And I've shared this already. I'm sharing things with you all that I have personally done, currently doing, and also the things that have been advised to me by my financial advisor, right? For my family. All right, so let's get to it. So these are a few things that I want you to just consider when you talk to your financial advisor as well. A few things to consider. Number one, if you want to reduce debt, think about either doing the debt snowball or a debt avalanche. Now, you probably heard this before. If you have, great. If you've done it before, great. If you have never heard of it and you have never done it before, then this is what the debt snowball is. Debt snowball is where you're going to pay whatever the smallest balance you have of debt, you're going to pay that first. So let's say your credit card is $7,500. I just said that earlier, right? In an example. So if your credit card is $7,500, but you have a loan that's like $1,500, then with the debt snowball, you will pay the loan first, okay? Because it has the smaller balance. Whereas the debt avalanche, you're paying the highest interest rate first. So let's say that your credit card is 13%, okay? But your loan is, 4%. Well, with the debt avalanche, you will pay your credit card off first because it has the higher interest rate. If that makes sense, y'all, let me know. Like, seriously, just let me know. Give me a thumbs up in the comments if you're watching this live or replay. Give me a thumbs up, okay? If this is making sense, let me know, all right? And then on top of that, when it comes to reducing our debt, y'all, so not only will you do the debt snowball or debt avalanche, whichever one works best for you, right? You definitely want to think about, like, how is prioritizing the high interest debt, how is that going to help me versus paying the smallest amount first? Like, how is that going to help me? Well, I'm going to tell you now, if you pay the higher interest rates off first, this allows you to pay less interest over time, especially if you're a credit card holder. Your payments get lower. You can still pay whatever amount. So let's say you're paying off that credit card because it's $7,500 and your interest is 13%, okay? So if you're paying that off first and you're doing a debt snowball, over time what's going to happen is you're going to pay more principal than you will interest. And that means your payments will start to go down. So let's say that your payments were initially $300. Well, as you're paying this off, and now that interest is starting to go down, that payment may go down to, like, let's say $200, where you're like, nah, I want to still keep paying the $300 because I want to knock this out as fast as possible. Well, now you're going to be paying more towards principal and less towards interest, and now you're getting this paid off much faster, okay? So right now, I'm going to tell y'all something. Right now in 2024, I know there are people that are saying, go buy this and buy that, use that. I'm going to tell you something. Bad debt is not, this 2024 is not the time to have or incur any more bad debt. If you already have credit card debt, do not get another one. Don't get another credit card. I don't care how many letters you get or what they send out emails. If you have Credit Karma always trying to sell you something, right? They always try to say, you have such a great balance, and like, this is not the time. When it comes to bad debt, y'all, bad debt meaning credit cards, loans, all this stuff. If you cannot afford to buy the car cash right now, you may want to hold off, unless, okay, you need a vehicle, like, because you don't have one, and that's your only mode of transportation because you out in rural areas or whatever. I got it. But if you can hold off and ride a motorcycle, ride a bike, okay, ride the bus, whatever. If you can do that for the time being, I would say do that until these interest rates go down and your money is better, okay? Because this is not the time to rack up any bad debt, y'all, especially if you're already struggling financially. This ain't the time, okay? This is the time to reduce your debt as much as possible. If owning a home is too much for you, sell the home. Okay. If paying for rent in a really big, house or whatever, or a townhome or something, condo, if it's too much for you right now, downside. Listen, there is no shame in that, because you shouldn't be caring about what anybody else is gonna think about what you're doing to make sure your family, yourself, are set up for success. Because when that recession hits, if another Great Depression were to happen, if there was another global economic, crisis like we experienced with 19, if that happens again, they're not going to pay your bills for you. So do what is best for you and your family at this time. Real talk, okay? Number 3, y'all, I'm going to move on. Number 3, we're going to number 3, and that is build an emergency fund. For those of you that are just joining, thank you so very much for jumping on. I appreciate y'all. Don't forget to hit that like button on YouTube. Definitely hit the thumbs up, okay? On top of that, give me some comments. Also, share this video, because I'm pretty sure there is someone who has no clue how to prepare for a recession or a major economic crisis. There are people who have no clue. I didn't, okay? I didn't know, and it wasn't until things happened and I started seeing it, I'm like, oh man, okay, so next time this is what I'm doing, because I want to be like those billionaires that made billions during 19. I want to be in that position as well, okay? This the next time around. So the way for us to do that is by activating these steps, taking step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on up to 14. Okay, so we're on step 3. Step 3 is build an emergency fund, y'all. Build an emergency fund. So this emergency fund is just pretty much to cover any unplanned bills that are not part of your monthly routine of expenses, planned spending, or like if you invest or whatnot. Okay, this emergency fund covers all of this stuff. Now, without an emergency fund, I need y'all to know this, without an emergency fund, when those unexpected, medical bills, car repairs, if you lose your job, all this stuff can lead to really big financial stress and definitely increased debt. Like I shared with that young lady that I just listened to yesterday, who was talking about how they racked up over $25,000 in debt in a short amount of time, like in 6 months, because she lost her job and they had went through their emergency fund. Okay. So again, when we're talking about, having an emergency fund, if you don't have that, you don't have a financial cushion, it can honestly force you immediately to rely on high interest credit cards and loans, and that's going to contribute to financial instability. You do not want to be on the other end if a financial crisis happens, or a big major economic crisis happens in the United States or globally again, like 19. You don't want to be on that other end again if you were a part of that when that happened in 19. Okay? With 19. All right? You don't want to be on the other end of it. You want to be on the end where you're thriving, you're healthy, you're strong, everything is working out, your money is moving how you want it to move. You have all kind of money coming in from every which direction. It's coming from the north, south, east, and west. It's coming from everywhere. Like, you want to be on that end should a major economic crisis happen, either in your country or across the globe. All right? So some of the things that I would say, just a few goals that you could consider having. Again, y'all, I'm not a financial advisor. Reach out to your financial advisor if you feel like any of this stuff resonates with you. Reach out to your financial advisor. If you don't have one, send me a DM. Just say financial advisor, and I'll get you connected with mine, and you can see if y'all a good fit for each other, okay? So there's that, all right? But some of the goals, y'all, when it comes to this emergency fund, just think about aiming to save at least 6 months to a year worth of your living expenses. Now, some people, like myself, I don't put all my money into the bank. Okay? I put my money into multiple types of investments. All right. And this is my way of saying, okay, so if something happens, I know I have a high yield savings account. Okay, so you can have a high yield savings account where, depending on which bank you're going through or financial institution you're going through, some of them have 4%, some have 5.5. I think I saw 6% one time. I'm not sure what it's at right now. I'll have to go back and look. But mine is like, I think it's 4.8 or something like that now. It was closer to 5, but it dropped down to 4.8%. But still, like, that's still really good for a savings account. Okay, so having that high yield savings account, that's one of the ways. Putting money into different types of investments, depending on what they are, probably want to consider more low risk type of investments as well, and those ones where you can pull your money out pretty fast. Okay, I would never ever suggest anyone to put all their money into one type of investment as a means to multiply their money, and especially to supplement as an emergency fund. I would never ever suggest that. I don't do that. So there's that. Okay. One of the things that you can do is, on top of that, there's an app. It's called Capital, but it's with a Q. So it's Qapital. This is a app where you can actually just move your money there, and it's kind of like, it's out of sight, out of mind, right? So you can have it round you up to the nearest dollar, or it takes $1 for every purchase, or you can actually send money to this account as well, and you can give it a purpose. So you can give it an assignment saying, hey, this is my emergency fund, or this is my vacation fund for my trip to Dubai, like, or whatever. Like, you can do that with that app. I would say, if you want to, check it out. I got that from the Budgetnista some years ago, and I'm like, yeah, that's what's up. Like, that's a really good way to not have the money sitting in your face, because it's not in you don't see it in your bank account when you open up your app, right? When you open up your mobile app, or you go withdraw money from your from the ATM, you don't see that because it's on this separate app. So unless you intentionally go look at it, you're going to forget that money is there, to be honest, because I've done it. All right. So those are just a few things that you can do to prepare and store up, get you an emergency fund. I also would suggest y'all, if you have not done it, when you have your high yield savings account, or if you're doing it with multiple types of investments and stuff, consider doing automatic transfers, because now you can include that in your budget, and you already know, hey, I'm sending $1,000 every single month to this particular, broker account, or I'm sending it to this high yield savings account, or whatever you're doing. You'll be able to include that in your budget, and now you're not thinking like, oh man, should I send it this month? No, it's already there, and you have it automatically being transferred every single month, so you don't have to think about, should I send it or did I send it? It's done because it's automatic. That's just another thing to think about. All right. So last one, y'all. We're on the last one, number four. Number four. If you're still with me, give me a 4 in the chat over here on Instagram. If you're still with me on Facebook and YouTube, give me a 4 in the chat. Okay. If you're watching a replay, type number 4 to let me know that you are still here. All right. So let's go. Number 4 is diversify income streams. So this is another way for us to be recession ready. All right. Why do we want to have multiple income streams? Well, if we don't, let's just talk about the consequences of not having it. And then we're going to talk about what we can do to get them, right? So one of the reasons, if you don't have multiple streams, okay, income streams, well, when you rely on that one income stream, it's like you are running the risk of becoming homeless. I look at it as extreme as you possibly can. One income in today's economy, especially here in the United States, I can't speak for any place else, okay? But especially here in the United States, you might as well say, you know what, I'm preparing to be homeless. Because if you lose your job with the way inflation is, we already know, like, even owning a home, depending on where you are, what state you're in, what city you're in, interest rates and all this stuff, depending on a lot of different factors, you could be paying more for your mortgage than you are for rent. You know what I'm saying? So if you are not mindful of, like, hey, look, I need to have at least another thing helping me to bring in some money. So if I were to lose this job, I'm not completely out of luck. Okay? Because if a recession happens and you lose it, then what? You don't want to be like that young lady that depletes her entire emergency fund and then have to rely on credit card debt in order to pay for gas and food and stuff, and having a family, right? Because if you lose all of if you lose your primary income without supplementary income or supplementary sources, right? That could definitely put you in like severe financial hardship. There are people who have committed suicide, y'all, because they didn't see a way out. They didn't. Because other things probably contributed to it too. But at the end of the day, y'all, I want you to be able to meet your basic needs. So here are some things that you can consider in order to diversify your income stream. Number one is, what is that thing that people always come to you about? Like, what is it? Are you a really good listener? Do you give really great advice? Right? Well, how about you turn that into a side hustle? Okay? You don't have to make it full time because you're working your job, but you can, incorporate it into your schedule. Create an LLC. Okay? You can do that. Whatever it is. Make sure you do your research though and get with your financial advisor, but make sure you do your research on what are some of the best states. If you're in the United States, what are some of the best states to create an LLC? Because there are fees associated with creating an LLC. There are fees that you must pay quarterly, annually, and whatnot when you are in business for yourself. So please make sure that you consult with your financial advisor, a business coach, do your own research. If you just like, hey, listen, I need to do this for free, do your due diligence before you think about doing that. But turn your hobby, if anything, turn it into a side hustle as well. So not just something that people come to you all the time about, but what if it's a hobby and it's like something that you really enjoy and you know that there is an audience out there for that? Then guess what? Create you a side hustle. Again, research everything pertaining to creating the LLC and whatnot. What are some of the benefits of having an LLC? Some of the tax breaks you get with it. All that stuff. Look into all of that. And then go ahead and activate it. And get your money, man. Like, seriously, you cannot in 2024, having one income is too close to being homeless. It is, man. So keep your job. Do what you do, but have your side hustle part-time. Okay? You can even drive Uber, y'all. Uber Eats, DoorDash, like whatever is easy for you. And people are podcasting. I get it that some folks is like, oh, it's oversaturated. And I say, hey, listen, if you have a voice and people always come to you for advice, that may be your lane, depending on the topic. Okay? Do some research on that. See if, there's a different spin you can put on it that will have people gravitate to you. That's fine. Pick up a new skill like trading, like I did 5 years ago. You could do that. All right? Like, seriously, y'all, there are so many options out here. There's no need for anyone to feel like this is it. This is my life. There's no way around it. No, that's not true. Especially with technology, we have too much information available to us, y'all, for anyone to feel like this is it. It is what it is. Okay? Too much information out here. Now, I will tell y'all this. If you're going to do this with having a full-time job, you need to be aware in advance. It's not going to be easy. It's not. It's going to be hard. You're going to be tired from your job. But guess what? If you don't want to be in that position where if you lose your job and you don't have your emergency fund set up, now you're screwed. You don't want to be that person, racking up credit card debt because you're not prepared. This is a way to help you prepare for a recession. This is the way to prepare. Y'all know that that right now, I want to say it started in 2000. I was looking it up. But right now, like the space between our recessions, right, in the United States is averaging between like 6 and 10 years. So our last version of a recession was 19, right? And so that was in 2020. So we're already 4 years in. So we're looking at between 2 and 6 years, possibly, between the next recession. That means, I'm not saying you have plenty of time, because you don't, because anything can happen. It doesn't have to be a 6-year, break in between the next recession. No, it could be next year. Why wait when you can prepare today? So I'm just sharing this. You're looking at roughly 2 to 6 years when there could be a potential recession. Because since where is it at? I'm looking at it now, y'all, so I don't forget. So pretty much since the early 1990s. So 1990, that recession, the previous recession was 7 years, right? That was 1990. And then 2001, that was another recession. The previous recession, which was 1990, that was 10 years. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So that means that we have to make sure that we are on track. We're preparing. I said, don't wait until it happened, y'all. Don't wait until it happened and then say, oh man, I should have did. No, do it now. Do it today. Start doing these steps today. Okay, start doing these steps today and you'll be good to go. So with that being said, just know that if you do decide to create a side hustle, you want to build a business, something light, it ain't got to be anything serious. Like you want to just bring in an extra $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 a month, whatever your number is going to be, whatever it is. If you're doing that on the side and you're keeping your full-time job, then that's great. Just know that you're going to have to put in some work. And depending on what your side hustle is, how great of a communicator you are, how good you are with marketing, all of this stuff, all of these things are going to determine how much money you actually make with that side hustle. Okay? What does your audience like? Are they rocking with you? Are they vibing with you? Do they want what you're offering? All of this stuff is going to play a part in that. Yeah, I'm not some business coach or nothing like that. That is not my calling. That's not my lane. But I know somebody that can help you. Okay, I know somebody that can help you, and I ain't getting paid for it. So if you want to know about that individual, because I'm a student with her as well, by all means, send me a DM. I send you her information. You can see if she your vibe or not. Okay, but yeah, so that's it, y'all. Those are the 4 steps for now. I have a total of 14. This is part 1, so there will be a part 2 on next Friday. Now, listen, if these 4 steps helped you or triggered you to relook at your financial situation today, then feel free to like this video, okay? Don't forget to comment as well. Put in the comments something that you took away from here that you're like, you know what, this is something I'm going to do, or I'm going to just look more into on today, okay? Put that in the comments if you're watching live or the replay. For all my replay people, welcome, thank you. But yeah, make sure you do that, and then feel free, y'all, to share it. Don't hold on to the information. The reason I'm sharing this stuff is because I wish that I would have known certain things beforehand, before racking up debt when I did. Before coming into 19, thank God that it wasn't as bad as it could have been. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could have been really bad for the Clark household, but thank God it wasn't. So, like, seriously, you want to make sure that you have information. Well, be the person that shares information. Don't be a gatekeeper over here, okay? I got it. You may not be making hundreds of millions of dollars and all that stuff, but you can still be a gatekeeper if you have information and you're not willing to share with other people and you're getting the results that you want from that information. So sharing is caring. Go ahead, share the video with someone. For my people on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell if you haven't done so already. because I want you to make sure you are aware of when I'm going live, like again next week, especially if you are part of the Prosperity Cause community. Okay. Before I go, y'all, don't forget, if you want to learn more about how I'm diversifying my income, especially as a trader, and whatnot, click the link in the description of this video. For those of you tuning in on YouTube, for those of you on Instagram, click the link in my bio. For those of you on Facebook, right now, you can click the link that's in the caption of this video as well. Okay, so before we end, don't forget, y'all, hit that like button. Give me the thumbs up on YouTube. Send this video to someone that could use these steps to get out of the hole in 2024. And if you're like, you know what, I need to watch this again, save it, view it later. Okay. So that's it. I'll be doing a part 2 of this topic on Friday, next Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Go ahead right now, put it on your calendar, and then come join me for more insight into becoming recession ready. All right. So that is it. I'm going to leave you all with my favorite quote, and that is from the legend. His name is Arthur Ashe, and he says to start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. So that's it, y'all. Have a really great weekend. Have a great Friday, and I will see y'all next week, same time, same channel. Let's go. Bye, y'all.